Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to a new year. Happy New Year to you all. It's been amazing being able to share some of this holiday time with this community. If you're following the Instagram, then you've seen some of the holiday stuff that I've been up to. Been really busy, really active, but I'm glad to get back into the swing of things as we get into this new year. And that's what I want to talk about today. As everyone's setting resolutions and goals for this new year, I want to make sure that you can do the best that you can with those resolutions that you make. So let's talk today about the ways that you are doing your resolutions wrong and how to make sure you get the most bang for your buck for the goals and the resolutions that you set for yourselves. Let's see how we can set ourselves up for success in this coming year. As we talk about growth and continuing to improve our mental health and wellness throughout this year, I want to encourage you to consider supporting this channel through a membership. Our higher tier of membership comes with the added benefit of journal prompts that I will send out to you at the beginning of each month. And these are 4 prompts, one for each week of the month. And they tie into seasonal things going on. And so a lot of the journal prompts that we had for the beginning of January connect to this idea of making resolutions, making goals, why we set our goals, and how we recover from those times when we have setbacks or failures. So go over to the membership tab and check that out. I'd really appreciate you considering supporting the channel in that way. As usual, make sure you like and subscribe, make sure you're staying up to date with our content. Let's dive into it. So one thing I hear a lot around this time of year are SMART goals, talking about like specific, measurable, attainable. I forget what the other, I know T stands for like time limited, I forget what the R stands for. And those are all really good. I use that SMART format a lot when it comes to goal setting for my clients. It helps me to make sure that I'm able to measure what we're trying to measure, especially when it comes to nebulous things like I want to feel less depressed. Then I have to ask them like, how do we really measure that? Because there are some days when you'll just feel better and there are some days when you'll just feel worse. And that's not necessarily a sign of progress or a lack of progress. But I would definitely encourage you all, if you are setting goals, make sure it's measurable. Make sure it's something that you can look at and say, yes, I am at least putting in the effort. I am doing the right things to get to where I want, even if today didn't feel amazing. But I wanted to jump beyond that to talk about ways that we sabotage our goal setting and ways that we can fix that so that our goal setting is as effective as possible for us to be able to make the changes, not just in the new year, but throughout the year as we look to improve. So the first thing I want to touch on is not just setting goals in the negative. And what I mean by that is saying, I want to be less selfish. I want to eat less sweets. I want to spend less time on the computer. Goals like that can be good things in terms of the concept of what you're trying to move towards. But I pull this from some of my work with addicted clients especially, is if you're going to remove something from your life that's been an integral part of it and that's part of your pattern of living, suddenly you'll be left with a chunk of time that you don't know what to do with. So a simple example is, if I am removing sweets from my diet, if I say I want to eat fewer sweets, great, that's a good thing, it's healthy, it's attainable, it's absolutely doable. But suddenly there's a gap in my caloric intake, and I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything like that. I just know like basic math, I was getting my food energy from somewhere, and now that's not there, so I got to replace it with something else. Maybe I make my goal, I am going to eat more veggies as opposed to sweets. Maybe I'm going to replace my snacks with carrots and celery instead of using candy bars. And now there's something that you can actually do instead of that behavior that you did not like. So that is one step to setting more helpful goals for yourself and setting yourself up for success. Second thing I'll say is, beyond just the SMART goal of specifically what you want to do, it's helpful to identify the why of why you're doing it. What is the value that you are moving towards? Let's take that eliminating sweets from my diet example again. I might need to think about, what is that value that I'm moving towards? I know abstractly that it's a good thing to eat fewer sweets and eat more vegetables, but why does it matter to me? Is it about my appearance? Is it about my relationship with food? Is it about my health? Let's say I want to be healthier overall. And so what that does is that opens things up for me in terms of my goals to not just focus on my diet in terms of moving towards healthiness, but also whenever I'm faced with the choice to be able to ask myself, what is a healthy choice? If I am moving towards health this year, what does a healthy choice look like? And that becomes a guidepost for me in those situations where I might feel very hungry and I'm faced with the opportunity to have a quick snack with cheap calories and a lot of sugar, all of that kind of stuff that I'm trying to avoid, to be able to remind myself, this is why I'm making the hard choice right now. This is why I'm choosing to stay hungry until I get home and I can fix myself a healthier snack, because I'm moving towards health this year. Rather than just feeling like I'm restricting myself, I have to control myself and it's all about willpower, this gives me that reason and that motivation to move towards those things. And the final thing I'll touch on is a point that I've made before in other videos, is this idea of relapse. Now, we think about relapse in terms of addiction, but if you just think in the patterns of behaviors and thinking that we go through every day, those are reinforced all the time by the constant practice that we do. And so resolutions and goals, by their very nature, are trying to change that long-standing pattern that we've seen and noticed and recognized as problematic or maybe not ideal for us. And so the addiction model is actually really helpful here in talking about change and the process of change. And within that process of change, it's very normal to experience relapse. And when I explain this to my clients, I say it's not that I'm saying you have an addiction either to like sugary foods or to the computer or to the internet or whatever it is, but it just means that you have a pattern of doing things. And when we try something new, it's not habitual yet, and you have a lot of inertia, a lot of momentum from those old patterns that sometimes they're just going to peek through. They're just the normal way that I've been doing things, and sometimes my body and my mind just revert to that because it's the path that has the least resistance. And so one thing that does bug me at the beginning of every year is that the gym is always super crowded at the beginning of the year. And then I have to kind of gut it through because I'm going there regularly. And so all the machines I want to use are being used by other people. There's a line to get into to be able to use this specific equipment. And I gotta wait and my workouts take longer. I know I just have to gut it through for like 2 or 3 weeks. Then all the people whose old patterns were not working out regularly, those tend to fall off. And then I'm back to the normal amount of time that I can spend at the gym. But the way that you can avoid being one of those people is that if there is a day where your body and your mind are just not used to going to the gym every day and you forget or you don't feel like you have enough time, recognizing that relapse is a normal part of this process can be a lot more encouraging for us to recognize it's okay, I didn't fail. This is definitely a setback. Sure, this is not the way I wanted it to go, but recognizing that we don't have to beat ourselves up about it, and the best way to move forward from that is actually to just go and do it the next time around. Next time I'm faced with that choice, I can be more aware of, I want to move towards health this year, and then tomorrow is an opportunity to get myself back on that path, as opposed to I'm a failure, I'm never going to change, I'm always going to be unhealthy, I'm always going to make unhealthy choices. Being able to say, those are my old patterns talking, relapse is a normal part of this process, and I can go back and do things better next time around. That's a very encouraging way to be able to go about this process of setting resolutions and making long-standing changes. So those are a couple of ways that I normally encourage my clients to think through making changes in their lives. Again, not just at the beginning of the year, but it is timely and seasonal for this kind of conversation. So thanks for tuning in to watch this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with our content. We're putting out new content every week, whether it's live streams, reaction videos, or just talking about concrete changes for your mental health or just your overall well-being like we do today. Again, I would encourage you to check out the membership page. That is linked below in the description, and it's super appreciated for all of you who are already members and supporting this channel consistently. And I would encourage you all, if you enjoy this content, to be able to take some advantage from that in terms of the journal prompts that come out every month. So go ahead and check that out in the link in the description below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for checking out this video, and I'll see you next time.